Welcome to another episode of Hard Target Range. Today we're going to be shooting the Ruger Service 6. Let's go shooting. Yeah, it's cold. That stinks. Then again, it's been 45 years since I've done it. And that is what we're talking about today on the Hard Target Range. Yeah, it's me, Mr. Holster. What are you expecting, Sammy Davis Jr.? Well, here we are back in the main building. I don't think you've seen this part before. At any rate, don't let it be said that Mr. Holster has no ability to be brave, because yeah, you just saw that. And yeah, Gene Kelly I'm not, which brings me to what I'm going to talk about here today. Of course, today we are shooting the Ruger Police Service 6 with a fixed sight, 4-inch barrel and .357 Magnum. It's got a 6-round barrel cylinder, the basic walnut grips, and yeah, I like this firearm. It's very nice, nicely done back in the day. Of course, the new model would be the GP100, the comparable model, and it's a beefier gun, a lot larger than this, and there's good and bad things to say about that, but we're going to talk about that today. What we're going to talk about on your first commercial-free, well, actually, technically last week was your first commercial-free Hard Target Range video. What we're talking about today is we're talking about Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. And if you're familiar with the old musicals, which maybe some of you aren't, I know we might have some millennials watching, or even the X generation guys out there watching won't know what I'm talking about. But Gene Kelly was an interesting guy, and so was Fred Astaire. They both got started in the business at an early age, and Gene Kelly did by going with his sister while his sister took dance lessons. Yeah, and he liked hanging around the girls, so he kept going. At any rate, that's really not what we're talking about. What we're going to talk about is Fred Astaire had a very unique style with a lot of grace, and the hand movements were very precise because he had big hands. So he used to put them in kind of like an attempt, so he could kind of make them look a little smaller. And he was a very graceful dancer. Gene Kelly, on the other hand, was kind of the man's man dancer, kind of the every guy dancer, very athletic. He had a lot of upper body strength, and he did a lot of dancing that was borderline gymnastics, where Fred Astaire was more of the ballroom dancing type if you want to call it that. A very elegant dancer. Two totally different styles, yet both of them are, both those individuals are probably two of the best dancers who ever lived. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about your style. And yeah, that's not why the tap dancing was there either, because there wasn't much style involved there. But I'm going to do a sidebar on that. I'm going to talk about your style and how you need to take what you learn from here and there, and as you do, you pick things up, and you're going to kind of probably come up with a style that's a little bit your own in stance. Myself, I'm pretty hardcore modified weaver from all my time at Gunsight, and even when you go through Gunsight down there and they teach you, that's basically this, or yeah, I don't know what they're teaching nowadays, but back in the day that was basically the way Cooper taught it, and even then they reinforced that that's just a guideline. You got to do what works for you. Results are what's important, not sticking to the straight teachings. So whether it be a straight weaver stance, a modified stance, an isosceles, or whatever they're teaching nowadays that I refer to the turtle stance, and I do that because when they bring the gun back in and they check the perimeter, they stick their head out like a turtle. It makes them look like a turtle to me, so I call that the turtle stance. Only jokingly, by the way, so don't take offense of that if that's what you do. Do what works for you. Mr. Holster's the last person to tell people what's the right thing to do, because, yeah, you can see the situation I'm in. I obviously have no idea what the right thing to do is. But that's what I wanted to kind of hit home on today, is that, and along with that, my little tap dancing deal there. I haven't tap danced since I was 16 years old. I was thinking about that, trying to remember if I ever drove myself to a dance lesson, and I can't remember ever doing that. But I might have. So I can't tell if I went away from that at the age of 15 or 16, but at any rate, yeah, that's a long time ago to start dancing again, and with my knees the way they are, which I didn't know they were bad, frankly, till I had that PET scan, and they were concerned about there being cancer in the one knee. Apparently there's a lot of damage to the left knee, and the right knee is the one that's been bothering me ever since I've had my back surgery, which I find funny. If you can't laugh at these things, you might as well pack it in. So the reason I'm doing that is I've been told that if you get regular good exercise, it'll boost your killing of cancer cells by 10%. Ergo, I've been trying to figure out for the last 7 months what I can do, and I've been outside, I've been walking, I've been working around here. I work all the time, you know, going out and working with the horses and feeding the animals and climbing in and out of a bobcat is not exercise. Even walking is not exercise, and I'm not going to take up jogging. I was in track when I was a kid, and when I got out of high school, I said I'd never run again. So, the point of this being, I've decided I was going to take up dancing again because I can get really good exercise from dancing. That was the reason I was so good in track, is because of my dancing. So, you know, go back to the source, and in doing that, you saw how pathetic it was. I found that I need to start at the very beginning and slowly do each tap to get myself back into it. And I'm not trying to do it precise, because I'm not going to die if I don't do it right. But when you practice with your firearm, you need to be pretty precise. So every now and then, especially if you've let yourself lapse, you need to go back to square one and start at the very beginning. And there's point number 2 I wanted to make. Don't be afraid to start at the very beginning. Go take a course somewhere and start at the very beginning. Every time you take a course, they're going to go through the basics with you. You see, and they start at the very beginning. Doesn't make any difference what level course it is. They do that to get you in the groove and make sure any little quirks you've picked up they can get you back on the straight and narrow before they start training. So even an old guy like me, Gene Kelly used to go and take tap dancing lessons and dance lessons long into his 60s. He used to say, you got to go back and take lessons to keep good. So there you go. There's a bunch of preaching from Mr. Holster. I'm going to go back to my dancing and see if I can dance away my cancer cells. Yeah. I'll leave you a little more footage shooting on that cold. And it's bitterly cold up here right now, -11 this morning. I'll leave you a little more footage of me shooting this old Police Service 6 357 Magnum on the bitterly cold HardTarget range. Thanks for tuning in this week, guys. Episode of HardTarget Range. Before I leave you, let's all give a little prayer that Jack is lucky at the craps tables, because you know that's where he is right now. Till next time, for Mr. Holster and Jack, go out and stay safe.